everyone. I come on here because I have a topic that I would like to discuss. I pray you guys are having an amazing evening. I want to thank everyone who is deciding to take some time to watch this video. We're going to talk about self-seeking characteristics as we've been in our free 10-step e-guide on how to date effectively. This is a great topic to include. If you have not had an opportunity to get our free 10-step e-guide, it's currently available on our website at www.ourfaithconnects.com. I thank everyone who has gotten the opportunity to download a copy. Yours is awaiting you. Thank you for all the feedback, all of the insight, all of the knowledge and wisdom that has been added to the e-guide. Tonight, we will discuss self-seeking characteristics. And it's important that we know when people are being selfish and they're not considering us. There are times where we're so considerate of others. We want them to know that we appreciate them. We want them to know that we love them. We want them to know that we have them in mind. That so focused on them that we're not even realizing that they're only considering themselves, and it's not reciprocal. It's not being reciprocated. We're going to talk about it tonight. So thank everyone for being here. Self-seeking characteristics is the topic tonight. When preparing to date, it is important to identify those who only consider self and keeping their interests in mind. These type of people can portray themselves as one who is involved and invested in getting to know a person, but ultimately seeking a self-gain. So they put on a good facade. They portray themselves as someone who is looking to build, looking to get to know, looking to be involved, looking to help, looking to be there. However, interior motive is self-gain. What can I get out of this person? How can they help me? How can I take advantage? Unfortunately, we got to be mindful of those people who show up in that way, because there are people out there like that. And we're going to talk about 4 self-seeking characteristics later on in the video so that you are aware when people are self-seeking. There are some people who have been so self-absorbed for such a long time, they are unable to call out or identify their selfish ways on their own. They've been this way for a long time. It could stem from just rejection or abandonment and having to be there by themselves all the time with no support, no help, or even just having to be independent. No one being there and supportive. So they started to grow self-seeking tendencies. They have been hyper-focused on their needs and wants while giving no room to identify how they can serve, love, and appreciate others. The inconsideration evolves into toxic environments, ungratefulness, removes option of a safe space, and self-seeking tendencies. In interest of dating, ensure what you are willing to provide be reciprocal or provide the balance in what can be done for each other. There are times where what you do for someone, they can do for you, so it's reciprocated. And then there's times where there's a balance. So what I can't do, they can, and what they can't do, I can, and there's a balance. Either allow it to be reciprocal, or there's a balance within what you guys are willing to do for each other, mentally, emotionally, physically. We will be highlighting a few self-seeking characteristics to prevent ourselves from getting involved with a person who is wrapped up in themselves. There are some people who are wrapped up in themselves and they only desire companionship. They don't want to build with someone. They don't want to elevate with someone. They don't want to really become one and fulfill assignment together. They just want someone present. Let me think all about myself, but I still want you here. Let's be mindful of those who are only wrapped up in what they want, what they need, what they like. One who is self-seeking is prone to error, miscommunication, selective hearing, and offense. These people, they get offended easy. Because if it's something that goes against what they say or goes against what they believe or goes against how they feel, they're going to become offended by it. And they're prone to error. They live in a bubble in their own world and not focusing in on what could be wrong and what they think and what their beliefs may be, which gives room for miscommunication and selective hearing. They're not hearing what you have to say because it's opposed to what they think. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to accept what people say. However, better to hear them out and not be so self-absorbed where you can't receive correction. Internally, a self-seeking individual secretly longs for validation to be accepted, prove a point, need of attention, or feeling of importance. This person, they seek validation. There are times where people seek validation to be accepted. As we said previously, they may have been rejected, abandoned, and so they want to be accepted. They want to know that they are wanted, they are needed. There are some people who just want to prove a point. Despite who's right or wrong, despite the solution or getting to the bottom or finding a resolve for matters, they want validation to prove a point. They just want to hear, you were right? They don't care about the solution. They don't care about the outcome. Their only desire is to prove the point, to be right. Need of attention. They do everything to be the center of attention. Or feeling of importance. They want to feel validated. They want their ego stroked. They want to be boosted. They overwork to highlight their needs, wants, passions, problems, or plans. Everything revolves around them. The inner them says, but what about me? All day long. So if it's not about what they need, if it's not about what they want, if it's not about what they like to do, what they enjoy, if it's not about their issues, their problems, if it's not about what they plan to do in the future, they don't want to hear about it, unfortunately. Considering partnership, oneness, and building, selfishness should never be the foundation to build from. So when you're thinking about growing together, building with one another, selfishness, if someone comes being a selfish person, that is not someone that you would want to build with until they correct that behavior. We will discuss 4 self-seeking characteristics in hopes that we are able to identify them when they are present. There are times that we don't even realize that people are selfish because we are so focused on them where we're not realizing that they're not even considering us at all. 4 self-seeking characteristics. Number 1, self-worship. A person who highly speaks on or committed to bringing themselves praise. Self-righteous. Expectation to be worshipped or to be idolized by others in forms of consistent compliments, entitlement, and disregarding others. You see people always being like, do you like my dress? Do you like my hair? What do you think about this? How do you like this on me, right? Just consistent compliments all day long. Self-worship, wanting to be praised by other people, as well as entitlement, feeling entitled, and disregarding others. They don't have any consideration of others or how they are affected by what they do. They want to be worshipped. They want to have a fan base. They want to call people fans, right? They want people to worship them as if they're God. There are times where they are not truly acknowledging it, but their actions prove that they want to be worshipped by people. Number 2, self-pity. One who victimizes self by always feeling bad and speaking down on themselves, always talking about their problems, gearing conversation to their issues, as well as consistent deflecting. Use of self-pity to get out of accountability and responsibilities. We see this person is always feeling bad for themselves, always talking about their problems. This is going on, that's going on. I can't believe it. I can't do anything right. Speaking down on their life, speaking down on their situation. Even when the topic is not regarding them, they find a way to victimize themselves in the conversation to avoid accountability. We see these type of people, they are avoidant. They don't want to address what is the problem. They rather talk about everything that's going wrong in their life and deflect from responsibility. So we got to be mindful of those who always want to pity themselves when they are being corrected, when they are being addressed about something else, and they always want to talk down about themselves. I just can't believe I can't do anything right. just wanting people to feel bad for them opposed to addressing the true issue at hand. Not trying to negate or disregard their issues, not saying that they don't have any relevancy to what they're feeling. However, we see people who is always trying to gear conversation to them and their issues and problems when you're trying to address a matter. They're self-seeking. Number 3, self-absorbed. No consideration of others and absorbed with their wants and needs, prioritizing self in conversation, seeking beneficial and advantageous gain for self only, attentive, invested, and focused on self. So they are attention seeking. Declining the opportunity to think of others, self-absorbed. People can place others in harm's way as they don't consider how their actions affect those who love and care for them. When people are selfish, they're not considering other people. They're not considering how what they do affect other people. They just have them in mind. They're absorbed with themselves, how they can get a gain, how they can get an advantage, how it will be beneficial for them and them alone. They are so blindsided by what other people are going through. Priority is them. They're always looking for what they can gain out of someone and how it can be beneficial in their life, opposed to partnership, opposed to togetherness, opposed to considering, okay, how can we help each other? How can we be there for each other? How can we build each other? How can I show up for you? How can I serve you? How can I love you today? How can I show you that I appreciate you? It's all about me. Me, 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 me. Number 4, self-delusion. One who self-deceives themselves to believe what is gratifying but hold no logical truth, to believe what is appeasing to the flesh and live in an illusion and not reality. Despite truth presented, they decide to believe the lie as they have no love for the truth. They are self-seeking due to the failure of acknowledging the present reality rather to proceed in a fairy tale. So we see these people, they will not acknowledge what's happening to proceed in an illusion based on what's gratifying, based on what they want to appear, creating and trying to control the narrative. To ignore the truth because it is offensive or wanting to hide from it is self-seeking, as one is trying to create a narrative known to be untrue. People may not always realize when one is self-seeking, which is why it's so important that we're having this conversation. We got to be aware of those who want to gratify their flesh and what they want outside of truth. So there are some people who are avoidant. They will avoid the truth because they don't want to hold themselves accountable when they know the truth, as well as trying to create and control a narrative that they know is not true, but because that's what they want to happen, they decide to be in a self-delusion. You are caring about them, you're showing them that you appreciate them, and you want them to know that they are needed, they are loved, they are cared for, and the overextent of you doing that, you don't even realize that they have no consideration of you because you're so willing to do for them. You're not even thinking of yourself or whether they consider you. I pray this topic of discussion brings more insight and light to those who self-seek. When preparing to date effectively, selfishness reveals when a person is not ready to grow together with another person. They can potentially set a person back that tries to pursue them. You're trying to go forward unintentionally because this person is self-seeking. They're bringing you backwards. Now you're trying to have them understand the vision, understand why it's important to work together, why it's important to consider one another, why it's important to grow together, why it's important to correct each other, why it's important to build together. They is focused on self. So they're not seeing the bigger picture, and you now waste so much time, energy, effort trying to get them to the level in which you are. So let's be mindful of others, and let's ensure that they are also mindful of us. I pray this discussion has been a blessing to you as it has been a blessing to me. Until next time, thanks everyone.